Hey guys, it is 7:45. I'm on time today. And I'm just going to wait a couple minutes to see who logs on while pulling up the picture that I'm going of the book I'm going to discuss tonight. It is Man Crush Monday. And decided to pick a book that our male readers will possibly like and enjoy. So I'm going to pull up the actual book. So it's called This Promise of Change, and it's written by Joanne Allen Boyce, who is... I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't thinking. I just saw the image and just picked it. That's not the act. That was part of a broadcast I did on Monday. If you did not catch the broadcast on Monday, and I don't know if you can still catch it, it is on YouTube. I put the link in the bio. So, again, I'm still just waiting to see who's going to log on. I'm new to this. But this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I don't think I've talked about this book. If I have talked about this book, I apologize for it being repetitive. But my goal is every book that I read, I'm going to give you a little snippet, a little taste of how I feel about the book. I try not to give too many spoilers. I'm gonna do this how I do book talks with my students. I give them just enough to make them want to read it. I don't want to spoil things for them because I want them to read it. I may give details here and there. Nick Stone, this is my first time reading anything by her, and I enjoyed her work. I will admit that with Nick Stone, you deal with the language, a lot of language. Same thing when you read Angie Thomas. I haven't read the latest one yet, but I do know The Hate You Give had a lot of language. So it's a discretion, parents, whether you want your child to read it. The content is very relevant to our Black Lives Matter movement, and it just really... I just loved it. And let me just get into it. So like I told you before in the live video I broadcasted on Sunday evening, you have the main character, Justice, who in the first chapter is trying to help his very drunk girlfriend. And I apologize, names are evading me right now. But he's trying to help his very drunk girlfriend. She's biracial. And this is very important because she looks white. She doesn't look black. So when Justice is manhandled by a cop because the cop thinks he's coming to rob her and coming to rape her or just do something wrong to her, when really Justice knew she was drunk. This is his ex-girlfriend. He doesn't want anything bad happen to her. He wanted to get her home, even though he didn't know how he was getting home. So he gets manhandled, and luckily he knows people who knows people, and they're able to get him the charges to drop. But it shakes Justice's world. Justice starts to question the world around him because he's never been harassed to the cops. He's never been disrespectful. Matter of fact, he goes to what I would call an Ivy League high school. I forgot how much it costs a year for them to go to that school, but that's how much some people pay in college tuition a year, and that's how much they pay to go to school. Justice is there on scholarship. Justice is ranked very high in his class. He is a senior, and to him, he never came off as a thug. So why would the police officer automatically think something's wrong with him? Something that he's up to no good. So a way for him to debrief from the moment, he writes in a journal to Martin Luther King Jr. and basically, what would you do in this situation? And I love it because he comes to Martin Luther King Jr. about this issue he's dealing with the cop, from when he's debating with his love life, because the young lady who he was trying to rescue, it is obvious she's not good for him because they off and on again. Even his best friend tells him she's not good for you. SJ, who is his debate partner, has been debate partner for years. He starts to realize, I think I'm feeling more for her than I realize. But he stops it before he even tries to entertain it, because his thing is, my mama told me, if she can't use your comb, you can't bring her home. And he is adamant that I am not going to break my mama's heart. I'm gonna live by my mama's rules. And SJ is really cool. She's athletic, very smart. You definitely see her being a lawyer in the future. But SJ is white. And even though people make excuses when she's Jewish, whatever. He said, my mama ain't gonna stand for that. Well, you dated so-and-so. She's biracial. Okay? So he goes back and forth because a part of him is really feeling SJ. Even though, the parents are in love with Justice, SJ, that's the only boy that she's had in her room. But they actually genuinely are sitting there talking about debates and how they can do better for the next competition. And it just hits him all of a sudden because there are certain things that happen in his life and he feels compelled to share it with her. Why not SJ? Why not be with her? One of the craziest scenes in the book is him, his best friend who's black. And his best friend who's black, and I can't remember his name right now, but they're like one of the few black people that attend this prep school in the area. And he has best friends that are white, but they don't quite get it. And they don't see anything wrong with, basically they have Justice dressed as a thug, and they have Justice's best friend who's black, and I can't remember his name, had him dressed as a preppy black dude. One dude had the nerve to wear, which I believe was his grandfather's or great-grandfather's Ku Klux Klan outfit. And they go to this party to address stereotypes, and they're immediately confronted by a gang of black kids, and they were like, you know what? Y'all about to get punched in the face. And Justice questions his blackness because it's like, I allowed myself to hang out with these guys and take a picture. Because, SJ sees a picture on social media, immediately calls him, is like, what is wrong with you? Why would you even allow yourself to hang out with these type of guys? What I love about Nic Stone's writing style, she doesn't make it culturally relevant, but also the connections that are in there. Okay, remember the cop I told you who tried to arrest Justice at the beginning of the book? Well, we found out 2 or 3 chapters later, that cop is killed, supposedly killed, by Justice's best black friend, cousin. Then there's a connection between the alleged killing of the cop by the cousin with Justice and his best friend later on in the book. I can't tell you what the connection is, but there's a connection. And it's like all these things from the picture that happened at the beginning of the story, that's connected to what happens towards the end of the book when it comes to a trial. I'm not going to tell you who was on trial. But all these things end up being connecting and coming full circle. And it just trips you out how some people say they're not racist, but they'll say things. Like one of the main characters is a white guy. He's ranked top in the class. And he made this statement about the fact that Justice got into Yale before he did. He was waitlisted, and he was like, because of affirmative action, Justice got in, but I'm waitlisted. And he's mad because the father be upset that he was waitlisted and wasn't automatically received early admission. So they start going through the list, and Justice is like, why do you think I wouldn't get into school? And he said, my scores are obviously higher than yours. And he said, what are you talking about? And they compared ACT scores and kind of found out Justice's score was higher than his. That shocked the crap out of this young man. And I'm mad I don't have the book in front of you. I actually accidentally left the book in my classroom. But it just explores race relations, police brutality, dating outside of your race, how sometimes you do question your blackness because you're hanging around. The main Justice's best friend got accepted into Morehouse. Justice got accepted into Yale. His best friend is questioning whether he should even go to Morehouse because he said, "You're the only black best friend I ever had. All this time I've been raising up in private schools, and I'm afraid of black women. I don't know if they're going to perceive me. They're going to like me. I'm about to go to Morehouse because his mom went to Spelman, dad went to Morehouse. I'm questioning whether or not I should even go." And he said, I know I need to go, but am I going to handle the women, especially Spelman women? And his perception of women is, not from his mom, but I just think all black women have attitudes because what he's been around. And I'm just like, you haven't been around all black women, obviously. But I love the story. Again, if you have seen the story, The Hate You Can Give, the movie, or you have read the book, the stories are very similar. In the sense of you're dealing with police brutality that goes to no end, and it is ripping apart, obviously, this young man's life. Again, he's falsely accused of something, and he's not even driving while black, just being black. He's harassed in the first chapter of the book, and it just slowly unravels into this huge snowball towards the end of the book. Like, I'll admit it, sometimes I got bored with some of the debates that happened in the class between the classmates, because they did talk about police brutality in the classroom with their professor. But once the drama hits, you're just like, whoa. Because someone who I did not expect to get killed gets killed in the story. Some of the decisions that Justice is making, because at one time he does contemplating joining with that black gang, and they're not really they're classified as a gang, they're seen as a gang, but they're really like revolutionary Black Panther Party, and they're led by this older guy, but they do some things people think are shady, and he thinks about joining up with these people because he's really getting tired of how he's being treated and what things are being said about him and how he can't go somewhere without being questioned. And this has never happened to Justice before. So I strongly recommend this book. I actually started reading it with my 7th graders. They loved it. We didn't finish it because the school year ended before we knew it. And we didn't get a chance to finish it. Of course, I had to bleep out a lot of words. I'll admit there's a lot of language. But again, this is a great book for male and female readers. I recommend fathers read it with your sons and talk about it. I think it's a great thing because we have some people that assume just because where I'm from, I'm not going to be harassed. I'm not going to be questioned. I'm not going to have to worry about certain things with police brutality. But if you truly look at the headlines and you truly look at things that happen in our society, we know that's not true. And Nick Stone definitely explores this. So again, highly recommend this book. This is definitely a book that's going on my bookshelf, so I strongly recommend it. So if you have any questions, if you read this book and you want to send me some of your comments and let me know what you thought about it, I would definitely love to repost it on the page. So again, Nick Stone, Dear Martin, great tale about just what our black boys go through that they shouldn't have to go through. Have a good night.